Hello, and welcome back again. Today I'm here with an explanation on The Third Level by Jack Finney. So, Walton Braden Finney. He was an American author. He was born on the 2nd of October 1911 in Wisconsin, United States of America. Um, he was actually called Jack Finney. But then, when he was 3 years old, after his father's death, he was given this name, Walter Braden Finney. He was named after his father. He died on 14th of November 1995 in California because he was suffering from pneumonia. Now, he is most famous for his science fictions. Okay, he wrote a lot of science fictions and thrillers, including The Body Snatcher, Time and Again, and so on and on and on. Now, before we go on to the story, let's understand the setting of the story. So, this story is set in the Grand Central Station, New York. And here is a picture of this particular station. Okay, so it is set in the 1950s, a time where there was peace, everything was peaceful and calm, unlike the present time that the author is talking about. And most probably at this particular time, that is the 1950s, people had not seen the two deadly world wars. Now, furthermore, this is the inner view of the Grand Central Station. So, the first picture here is a balcony seen inside the station, and today the Apple Store is situated here. Now, second picture is one of the arched corridors that Charlie, our main character of the story, walked through. Okay, so this is how it looks like. And the third picture shows a picture of the 20th Century Limited. So this is a passenger train which ran between Grand Central in New York and LaSalle Street in Chicago. So now the third level actually is a psychological story which refers to the subway at the Grand Central Station. That's why I showed you all these pictures to have a better understanding. Now, the subway, actually, there are only two levels in this Grand Central Station, but the character, Charlie, he believes that he has discovered a third level. So, this third level is nothing but an escape from the reality, from the harsh reality of life. So, this subway has become an interconnection between the narrator's harsh reality and fantasy. Now, moving on to the theme, well, this is a story that weaves together the psychological story of the narrator into the past, present, and moves towards the future. So, this is nothing but it's all about a man's yearning, to escape from the harsh realities of life. Because right now, this character, Charlie, okay, the age that he's living in is really harsh. There's tough competition. It's tough life. So he wants to escape this, and he transcends the boundaries of time and space, and he moves on back to those days when the world war had not occurred and everything was peaceful. Okay, so now what he wants to tell us in this particular story is that man is mortal and has many good and bad aspects of life, like love, profit, loss, good, bad, etc. So, all these aspects tend to affect the human mind. Then, existential worries act like a catalyst for making the human mind constantly move between the past, present, and the future. So, the third level is a study of human mind caught in this cycle of time. So, when people in the present time, when they want to escape the problems and stress of life, they feel that life 50 or 60 years ago was much more fun. It was relaxed. So they wanted to go back to that particular time for peace and happiness. Okay? Now let's move on to the next slide. But before we go on, let me tell you that this particular story, the genre of the story is it is a science fiction. Now, these are the main characters that are there. The first one, our main protagonist of the story, that is Charlie. Okay, so Charlie is the true representative of the modern man who is torn between the pulls and pressures of a hectic modern life. Now, um, he's a victim of stress, insecurity, and fear, and he wants to run away from reality. Okay, he is an escapist and wants to escape from the world of harsh realities. So he is fond of stamp collection, and this hobby also, it's a leisurely time. During leisurely time he takes up this hobby, and it itself shows that he loves hobbies, which is a kind of a temporary refuge from reality. Now, he wants to lead a good, simple life of his grandfather's time. So, when things were pretty nice and peaceful, so that's why he wants to escape the reality and go back to those days. He wants to go to Galesburg, Illinois, in the year 1894. Okay, so he's very imaginative, and hence, on the wings of his imagination, he takes a flight to the non existent world, the third level at the central station. But after finding it once, he never finds it again. Now, secondly, let's talk about his wife. She's Louisa. Okay, Louisa, she's very loving and caring. However, she's a very simple lady, and it is not difficult to take her in. She refuses to to accept the psychiatrist's observation that her husband is unhappy. She takes this comment as a personal attack and feels kind of mad. So, on being told the modern world is full of insecurity, fear, etc., she feels satisfied. Now, when Charlie tells her about the third level, she is shocked, and she advises him not to go looking for the third level. Okay, her husband's exchanging the new currency with the old one is a cause of concern for her, and that is why she tells Charlie to stop looking. And later on, she takes him to his friend who is a psychiatrist. Now, the third character here is Charlie's friend, Sam, who is also a psychiatrist. Okay, he's a typical city boy. And many a times, Charlie had shared his, stories about his grandfather's old days in Galesburg. And then when he kind of shares a story about finding the third level, he tells him that it's not true. It's just a waking dream for wish fulfillment. And he tells him that he's actually looking for ways to escape since he's not happy in life. Okay, but then again, since his wife Luisa is mad at him, he reframes the sentence and he says that, he's got a lot of insecurities in this modern life, and that's why he wants to escape the reality. Um, Now, moving on to the next, let's go on to the story. So we begin from the Grand Central Station in New York. So you can see how busy it is. So one evening, Charlie decides to take the train home because he was already late. So while walking through the corridors of the Grand Central Station, he gets lost. He does not know which way. So he even describes the Grand Central Station to a tree. He uses a simile. Now, here is a tree and here's Grand Central Station. Now, why does he compare the Grand Central Station to a tree? Because just like, the tree has roots, okay, pushing out everywhere. You don't know where it starts and where it ends. Likewise, the station here, the Grand Central Station, also is growing like a tree. It has a lot of corridors coming out, a lot of corridors and staircases, just like roots of a tree. And many a times people get lost. And this day, he also gets lost. Now, he started walking. Okay, he went left and then right and down. And few minutes later, he hears a certain kind of sound. He follows the direction of the sound. And thus, he comes to another level, which he thinks that that is the third level. And he feels that he's traveled back to 1894. Why? Because everything looks different. First of all, the ticket counter itself, it's different. It's made of wood, and the fire, the light that is there is an open flame, just like in this picture. It's a gas light, not the electricity. And then he sees men wearing derby hats with mustache, a very bushy mustache. And then after that, he sees this particular engine, the courier and ice locomotive. Then he sees the spittoon. Now, what is spittoon? Spittoon is a big brass vessel where people spit. And then he also sees ladies. They wear dress with leg of mutton sleeves and skirts. See, look at the sleeves. Looks like the leg of a mutton. Okay? And then suddenly he looks at the newspaper. And this newspaper states that he had really traveled back to time, because the time that was there, and the name of the newspaper is The World, which existed only in that particular time. So quickly, he wants to buy two tickets. He wants to go back to Galesburg, where his grandfather lived before, where it was very peaceful, everybody was happy. And then he wants to buy a ticket. He takes out money and gives it to the cashier. The cashier, he looks very stern and then says, "Are you trying to rob me?" And then he realizes that even the currency that they were using were not the modern currencies. Okay, they were old currencies. So after that, he was very scared. He comes out, because even those days, obviously, the jail, the prison was not a good place to be. So he moves out. Now, after moving out, the next day he goes to the bank. He takes out all the cash that he has. He had around like $300, and he buys old style currency. And he goes back into the Grand Central Station, but he never finds the third level again. And then, he tells his wife, day in and out, he keeps on looking for this third level, but he's never able to find the third level. And his wife, she gets pretty worried, and she feels that her husband is really going mad. So she takes him to his friend Sam, who's also a psychiatrist. And then that's the time when his friend tells him that the friend does not believe him. Okay, so that's the time he says, "You just want to escape reality. It's nothing." And he also had a hobby, like I said in the beginning, that is hobby of stamp collection. That was also proof to the statement, because they believed, like, whoever collected stamps and all, it was a kind of a relief from the reality. Those who wanted to escape reality, that's what they did. So, but then, Charlie does not agree. Okay, and he says, like, no, even my grandfather had the same hobby, but he was very happy and content. So one fine day, he learns about his friend's disappearance. Sam has disappeared, and he kind of takes a guess, but he's not sure. So one night, when he was going through his first day covers, so let me tell you what this first day covers are. Now, those days, when a stamp was just published, people wanted these stamps, the new stamps. So what they did was they bought an envelope, they put the stamp and addressed it to themselves, and inside it used to be a blank paper. They used to blank, and they used to post it. So eventually what happened, that particular envelope with the new stamp that was published used to come to them, and they did not open it, because they knew that nothing was there. It was just like, a kind of memory. that they a kind of a collection that they used to keep. So in one of these first day covers, he finds one that shouldn't have been there, and that was addressed to his grandfather in Galesburg. So he quickly opens that, and inside was a note from his friend. His friend had written to him, and then he tells him that, he was back there in his grandfather's time in Galesburg, and he was having so much of fun. He was just sitting outside and smoking and talking to people and having a wonderful life. And he also tells Charlie to join him soon. So after that, Charlie finds out that Sam had bought 800 worth of old currency, and that's how he had traveled back to time. So, my dear students, when we come to the end of the chapter, we're totally confused. We feel that, oh, really, it has happened. But let me tell you that none of these are true. This all, whatever he describes, even his friend going back to traveling back time is not true. That is also one of his figment of imagination. So right from the beginning of finding the third level to his friend traveling back to time and writing him a letter, all these are figments of imagination. All right, thank you.